Good morning. I think it may be like 40 degrees today, so it's a heat wave. I'm not wearing my winter jacket and I've got some lighter gloves on, so I'm gonna take advantage of this. I'm wearing the Prime X Strung today. So far I have 46 miles on this shoe, so I'm gonna take it past 50 miles today and try and do a marathon pace long run and see how they do for me on this run. This is the Adidas Adizero Prime X Strung, a shoe with a lot of names and a very high price. So you may have watched my first impression review of this. Now I have it at 56 miles that I passed on a 10-mile long run this past weekend. So just wanted to give an update on how I feel about this shoe. But to kind of bury the lead a little bit, my opinions are pretty much exactly the same as they were with the first impression. And I'll kind of do a couple yes and no answers and then get into more of the details. So is this a good shoe? Yes. Is it worth $300? No. Is it good for long runs? Definitely. Would I use it for shorter distances? Definitely not. Can you run slow in this shoe? Not unless you want to roll your ankle. Can you run fast in the shoe? Yes, but it's a little bit too heavy and big to get it up to full race pace to me. So this shoe kind of sits in an interesting area where I think it's excellent as a long run shoe. It doesn't want to go easy pace, but if you go a little bit faster than easy pace, that's kind of the sweet spot for this. It's a little bit too big and bulky to do tempo runs in. You could definitely use this in a longer race, but I probably would only use this in a marathon because that's where you're really going to benefit from having all that extra stack and cushioning, because the shoe is a little bit heavier than what I would usually use for a race shoe. This is close to 11 ounces in my size, a US men's 12. So it's a little bit too bulky of a shoe for racing for me. However, if I wasn't going for like a personal best and I just wanted to run a marathon and be comfortable and protect my legs, this would be a great choice for that. It's also a very durable shoe. It has a lot of Continental rubber on the forefoot here, and after close to 60 miles, there's pretty much no visible wear there. I do have some wear on the exposed foam in the back here, but that's not really going to do anything. It would take a whole lot of wear to make a dent in this. So this is also a stiff shoe. It has those carbon rods in there as well as carbon blades in the front, and there's also a carbon plate in the heel area as well. So this shoe is really designed for efficiency. It's designed to give you that squish and bounce. It's not too soft though. If this was a really soft foam, that would be a problem because there's so much of it, you would really drown in the shoe. But this really does encourage you to get up on your toes and use that stiffness in the shoe for a nice toe spring and rocker. So this shoe does really feel good when you're running fast. But I found also, I just compared it to some other shoes. The stability in the heel is kind of a problem with this shoe. You can see with the Adios Pro 3, it's much wider in the heel. Here's the Alpha Fly, also much wider, significantly wider really. This one's also very narrow in the midfoot, but much wider in the heel. So that's something where if someone is an overpronator, beware. You know, this is a very tall shoe, and there's not a lot of width in the heel there. So if someone's an overpronator, I could see the shoe being a problem. Or if they predominantly heel strike, that you're going to have that instability in the heel, because really once you land on the midfoot, that's where all the meat of this shoe is. You know, the nice solid landing and roll. Also, at the price point of $300, I can't really recommend this shoe, being so expensive and having such a limited use case. Again, I think this would be great for marathon training. If someone has a big race coming up and they're logging a lot of miles, this is a perfect long run shoe where you can run, you know, kind of faster long runs, progression long runs that feel really good. So, you know, save your legs in this shoe. But $300 is too much for a shoe that I don't really plan on racing in. I was able to get these on sale for $150, and for $150, I think that's an absolute steal, because this is a shoe that I can use like a daily trainer, but for long runs at a pretty low price for the amount of technology and use I'm going to get out of the shoe. It's going to be a very durable shoe with that Continental rubber outsole and that really thick foam. It's going to take a long time to pack this out. So one of the things I think they could improve with this shoe, a lot of times when you have this really high stack, you kind of sit into the stack a little bit. So like, for example, this is the New Balance RC Elite. You see the stack comes up really high on the side, but your foot really sits down into it. You know, your foot's really down here. So it looks like a very high sidewall, but you're kind of being cradled into that heel a little bit. The foam surrounds your foot, which makes it a little bit more stable. Whereas with this one, you really are just, your foot is sitting on top of this platform. It's not down under the foam at all. So again, it makes it very tall and a little bit wobbly. So I found if you're running fast and you're running on your midfoot, landing here, there's good stability in the shoe. But if you're engaging the heel at all, the shoe really does want to move around a lot. So there's instability in the heel. So I find it, again, good for long runs when you're going a little bit fast. So I can't get up to my absolute top pace in this because it's just a little bit too heavy. But it's really good for those kind of progression long runs, marathon paced long runs. For racing, I really do prefer the Adidas Adios Pro 3. This shoe is about 1.5 ounces lighter. It has a legal amount of stack in the heel there, as opposed to going above the legal amount that's in the Prime X Strung. But just the lightness of this shoe really helps me to go faster. It has kind of more of an aggressive rocker shape to it. It feels a little bit more stiff as well, and it also has that wider heel. It's a little bit more stable in the heel. So I actually use these for the New York City Marathon in 2022, and this is still one of my favorite racing shoes. So if I wanted an Adidas shoe to go fast over a longer distance, it would be this one. Over a shorter distance, it would be the Takumi Sen. But that Prime X Strung is really a good training partner for this shoe. So if I'm, you know, starting another marathon training block, that can help absorb those long runs and those tough miles, whereas this one's really more for race day and for speedier sessions. So what's my overall opinion of the Prime X Strung? Buy it weight or second rate, this is definitely a weight. $300 is a lot of money to pay for a shoe, especially a shoe that I don't plan on racing in. I also don't want to pay $300 for a shoe that I will race in. A lot of these carbon plate shoes now are $220, $225, $250, $275. So the prices seem to go up with each new model year. They're raising the price by $20 or $50. So really for that, at that price point, there's a lot of shoes I would prefer to race in over this one. So not looking at it as a race shoe, I think it's an excellent shoe for long runs. But again, that's such a high price tag for a shoe that I'm mainly going to use just for training. So if you can get this shoe on sale, I think it's an excellent shoe. But is it worth $300? Definitely not. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you've run in the Prime X Strung and what you think about it. Please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next review.